Tonight on My Human Case.
There is no one cancer. There is no one treatment.
It is San Diego's #1 killer.
I wasn't going to listen to the statistics.
But even with a stage 4 diagnosis, cancer is not what it used to be. Chances are good, right now 1 in 2, that you or someone you love will at some point hear the words, "You have cancer." It is the leading cause of death in San Diego, but it is not an automatic death sentence, not anymore. Today, most people who get cancer are either cured or able to live with it for years, even decades. I'm Jim Patton, and tonight we take a look at the amazing progress that's been made and the real challenges that remain.
Half the time, my best photographs are ones that I didn't even know I took. There'll be something caught in the corner of a photograph, like the bee's wing, or the light running through a petal, or the light reflecting off of the water.
When it comes to bucket lists, Allie Gilmore's is long and ambitious. Taking pictures is on there, but not just any pictures. She wanted to photograph Major League Soccer players as a press photographer, so she did.
So basically, with this, I'm allowed to go onto the field at StubHub Center and almost close enough to reach out and touch players like Landon Donovan and David Beckham and Robbie Keane. They're like poets in motion. The way that their bodies twist and turn up in the air, it's magic. Positano, I wish you knew.
Playing this song is also on her bucket list. She wrote it about the seaside town of Positano, Italy. She wanted to play it there, and so last summer she did that too.
I am not in the heart of it all. Write a screenplay, go ice fishing and snow machining with my friends who recently moved to Minnesota.
She keeps adding to her bucket list.
Swim with the whale sharks in Isla Mujeres, Mexico.
Not because she's planning on checking out anytime soon. It's more of a guide for living with stage 4 cancer.
I say to people, it's like, don't feel sorry for me. You know, in some ways, my life is so much better since the diagnosis. Because it can be for almost everyone, because in that moment you have a choice. When you hear that you have what could be a possibly terminal situation, in that moment you have a choice. You can embrace life or you can discard it. And in that moment, I just said, okay, then I'm gonna do what I wanna do, and I'm gonna live the life that I wanna live. And hopefully it'll inspire others to do it as well. So far, so good.
Living a full life with cancer, something unimaginable even a decade ago. But the face of cancer is changing.
It's not what it used to be.
There's plenty of hope. There's plenty of hope.
New treatments are coming fast and furious.
I think the most common misconception is that, oh, you've got cancer, you're going to die. You know, that's the immediate reaction that people have, which is absolutely not true anymore, absolutely not true. There are so many treatments out there, and this is definitely a treatable disease now.
From new medicines to improved education, better diagnostic tools, and advances in surgery, they're all leading to better outcomes and fewer deaths. According to the American Cancer Society's most recent figures, the 5-year survival rate for all cancers is 68%, up from 49% in the previous 30 years.
That's what's so amazing. We have millions and millions of cancer survivors walking on this earth.
And some say we are moving closer, perhaps, to the day cancer is no longer a threat.
I think we are. I hope we are at some point in time. You know, in my lifetime, I would love to see that you know, that it should be just completely squished away.
Cancer begins inside a single cell. While cells are born to divide, in cancer that division doesn't stop. Genetic mutations spark the process. Today, doctors know a lot more about what causes those mutations. Sometimes it's inherited from mom and dad. Oftentimes, it's exposure to the sun or certain chemicals, like those found in cigarettes.
Today, this moment, if the whole world got together and we did 3 things, we could eliminate over 60% of cancers.
Radiation oncologist Dr. Eva Lean says most cancers could be eliminated right now if people would stop smoking, eat healthier, and exercise.
In one shot like that.
That would mean of the 1.7 million Americans likely to be diagnosed with cancer this year, more than 1 million of them wouldn't get it. That's 1 million lives spared. But changing behavior takes education, a main goal of the American Cancer Society. Dr. Ujwala Rajgopal is the organization's chair-elect for California. She says one current campaign aims to educate people that colonoscopies save lives.
Our goal currently is 80% of patients to be screened by 2018, because mainly if this cancer is caught at the level of a polyp and a polypectomy is done, that polyp is not going to grow anymore into a cancer. So it can be literally nipped in the bud.
Deaths from colon cancer have gone down in the U.S. That's attributed to those all-important screening tests. But colorectal cancer remains the second deadliest form of cancer for American men and women. According to the American Cancer Society, it's estimated nearly 50,000 Americans will die from this largely preventable cancer this year alone. Other types of screening tests, like Pap tests and mammograms, are also finding cancer at a stage when it's easier to treat.
We're detecting more cancers at an earlier stage so that more of them can be cured even surgically without any medical therapy, or that if medical therapy is required, it's more likely to be effective and more likely to lead to a cure.
On the surgical front, radiosurgery has revolutionized treatment. It allows doctors to excise cancer not with a blade, but with radiation.
Radiosurgery is a science in its own rights, which is enabling us to put very, very high dose of radiation into a very precise volume, and as such shortens the time of treatment and protects the organs that are, nearby, and we can actually deliver surgical-like precision to the tumor, like we did with Ali.
Radiation oncologist Dr. Eva Lean performed radiosurgery on Gilmore to obliterate cancerous spots that had metastasized from her colon to her lung. Her before and after scans show cancer that was there had disappeared, leaving the surrounding healthy tissue untouched.
Being a young person, full of energy, with plans to go all over the world and do whatever, I was just kind of spinning, I'm not gonna limit her ability to do that, so I need to protect her with everything I have.
Minimally invasive surgery, like robotic surgery, has also changed cancer treatment, allowing surgeons to go to places they couldn't before. The tiny camera and instruments are inserted through an incision about the width of a fingernail. Surgical oncologist Dr. Sonia Ramamurthy says this type of surgery has had a huge impact on patients' lives.
When we do things minimally invasive, which means smaller incisions, less pain, earlier recovery, patients can get back to their quality of life much sooner. And those patients with more advanced disease can actually move on and get their treatment sooner, which has actually been shown to improve survival overall.
The new surgical treatments reflect a general trend throughout cancer medicine. Less is proving to be more. While radical mastectomies used to be standard treatment for breast cancer, today they're reserved for the most serious cases.
Then maybe we can keep the breast, radiate the breast, and that maybe is good. Now we are removing the tumor. Maybe we don't need to treat the whole breast. Maybe we can just treat with radiation just the area of the tumor. Plus we have hormones, we have chemotherapy, we have immunotherapy. Maybe we don't need to be doing this aggressive localized treatment. We can just kind of do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and get the result, which is equally good.
New medicines are also giving doctors more options in treating the more than 100 different types of cancer.
That is ever changing. It used to be that there would be changes every couple years, perhaps, in the standard of care for many types of cancers. Now we see every 2 or 3 months there can be changes in treatment.
Like there is no one cancer, there is no one treatment.
That's where the growing field of personalized medicine comes in. It means tailoring a patient's treatment to their particular cancer. Doctors test tumors to find their genetic and molecular abnormalities. That way they can eliminate drugs that won't work and hone in on those that will.
In treatment, we are going to be moving forward from the treatment of breast cancer, or lung cancer, or whatever cancer, to treatment of Mrs. Jones's lung cancer, or Mrs. Smith's breast cancer, or Mr. Brown's prostate cancer, or something like that, because we will have the making of that particular tumor, and then we can have the direct response to that.
In the lab, researchers are working on a number of fronts. Some are using once deadly viruses like smallpox and HIV to kill cancer cells resistant to other treatments, while other researchers are focusing on immunotherapy, basically turbo boosting a patient's immune response to cancer.
I think this is actually the most exciting part of being an oncologist, is to see what's happening. I mean, it's almost daily that we hear some new development.
This is the increase in enzyme activity.
Cancer researcher Dr. Guy Salveson has been working with enzymes called protease. They drive cells to do things like live or die and are supposed to be there. Much of Salveson's recent research looks at a protease called MALT1 and its role in cancer.
MALT1 is there to promote the growth of the cells. Well, too much MALT1 means too much growth of cells, which means cancer.
Salveson and his team are trying to find out what causes MALT1 to become overactive and how to turn it off in tumors. They're also looking for ways to detect which tumors are caused by too much MALT1. Information invaluable to doctors trying to classify which patients will benefit from certain medications.
It enables you to stratify patients whose cancer is due to overactivity of MALT1. And so if you can stratify those, you know those are patients you want to target their tumors with inhibitors of MALT1.
All this forward momentum means a cancer diagnosis is not what it used to be.
Here's what I say. I deal with a lot of breast cancers, a lot of colon cancers, and I tell them, stay focused. The rest of your body is fine. There's this little zone. Treat it like a weed in your driveway. We're going to pluck it out, and we're going to treat that area, get it out of your system, and you're going to function. You're going to function just fine. It's going to be a bit of a roller coaster, as I mentioned before. You might have to cancel a few appointments and engagements until you get through the treatment. But once you're through, live your life. Don't let this stop you.
Even when cancer has metastasized and a stage 4 diagnosis is given, there's reason to be hopeful. New medications mean people are living years, even decades, with this advanced stage of the disease.
It used to be you had metastatic disease, your life expectancy was very, very limited. Nowadays, for some cancers, you can expect to A, live long time, and B, can be controlling symptoms for a very long time. So it's not what it used to be.
It is a chronic diagnosis, just like in the past. Diabetes used to be a death sentence, but now people live with it, and cancer has pretty much come to, or is coming to that level where, yes, you are diagnosed with cancer, you can never escape that diagnosis once the diagnosis has been made, and yes, you do need to keep it monitored, keep it under check, and live your life. Don't let it stop you,
And I'm a pretty obstinate person, so if we're going to duke it out, I think I'm going to win.
Gilmore received her diagnosis in the summer of 2010. She was just 45.
Allie came to us with metastatic colorectal cancer, so it was stage 4 out of 4. It had spread to her lungs. And when we got through that difficult news, we focused on the positive aspect that she only had one detectable metastasis in her lungs. So that put her in a special subgroup of patients with metastatic disease that up to about 25% of, we can get sometimes cures, or if not a cure, a long-term remission by doing aggressive treatment, both for where the cancer started and for the isolated metastasis in the lung.
I just decided then and there that I wasn't going to listen to the statistics. I wasn't going to listen to anything negative about it, and I was just going to focus on the people that told me that I could and that were qualified to say that.
18 months of chemo and radiation, and Gilmore heard good news.
It was really exciting when I got my first clean scan.
She wrote a book about her journey called The C Card in Me, How I Beat Stage 4 Cancer.
This is chapter 3, Show No Fear, which is one of my favorite chapters. And it says, cancer is nothing more than a bully. No, it seriously goes around kicking the crap out of your healthy cells until they give in or join its gang or die trying to defend themselves.
The book inspiring so many others fighting for their lives.
It says, Dear Allie, thank you so much for this ray of hope that you have given me in your book. It seems every page was saying that exactly how I feel. Just yesterday, I get the letter in the mail from a woman that who had received my book, and she said all the words that I needed to hear to remind me of why I'm doing this and to feel good about what I'm doing. Yeah, so it was just awesome. I love it.
But 12 months after she went into remission, cancer returned. Still, Gilmore wasn't about to give up hope. She started another round of chemo and radiation and began writing a second book.
And what's it called? The C Card in Me, How I Beat Cancer Again and Again. And I'm writing it before I'm in remission because I'm so sure that I'm going to be in remission by the time it's published that, why not get a head start?
Gilmore is waiting for her next scan to see if the latest spot on her lung is gone. She's prepared to face the results like she's faced the whole process with optimism.
I say, I'm already prepared for the answer. Whether the answer is I am definitely in remission again, or it's another spot is cropped up and we have to treat it, I'm okay with either answer because right now is where I'm at. And right now, I am going to enjoy 2 full months without any chemotherapy or radiation. I don't have to think about those things. I can just move on with my life for the whole 2 months at the very minimum.
A positive attitude. Doctors can't quantify how much it helps heal, but they know it does.
If my choices are being sad and depressed or stressed out and being happy and joyful, and this will help me, then I'm just gonna have to choose this. The mind is a very powerful thing, and every time I use a lowercase
Allie's
letter,
she's been a force of nature from the get-go. I mean, she came in, big smile. We were talking, obviously some difficult talk, but I think we both were smiling through the entire consultation. It was just, I was blown away actually by her. I would like to bottle it up and serve it to patients.
I don't think she would be exactly where she is today without that, because it takes that kind of spirit and attitude to make yourself continually available for all of these different potential treatment options, and to work with her doctors on the safety of these treatments and how to weather through side effects and recovery. And that's been unique for Allie, that she's been able to do that.
But that's not to say it's been easy. While there are medications to lessen the side effects of chemotherapy drugs, many side effects remain. Gilmore experienced swelling, nausea, pain, and forgetfulness. Some days it was just too much.
there were definite moments where I'd be getting ready to go to a special occasion with some friends, and then you just feel the drain happening in your body, and that's how it happens. It comes and goes in waves. And when it did, at the worst time ever, when you really wanted to go somewhere, and you look in the mirror and you see that your skin's turning gray, and you're so puffy, and there are moments like that where I would break down and cry and send a text saying, sorry, can't make it.
Serious challenges remain in the fight against cancer. 600,000 Americans will die from the disease this year. Cancer accounts for 1 in every 4 deaths. Breast cancer rates are about the same as they were a decade ago, And some forms of cancer are on the rise, leukemia and liver cancer among them. Pancreatic cancer remains one of the most deadly forms of the disease, largely because it's difficult to detect early on. Researcher Salveson says part of the problem lies in what we still don't know about the human body.
Our philosophy is if you don't know how the machine works, you can't really fix it as well as you really want to. And so the analogy I use there is, 200,000 years ago, someone dumps a Hummer into a camp of primitive humans. These humans are primitive, but they're very smart. They're probably smarter than we are. They're well adapted to their environment, and says, go, there you go, figure out what that is. And it takes generations before you can really figure out how a machine works. You have to reverse engineer the machine. In our case, the machine is the human machine, the cellular machine. We try to reverse engineer it to understand how it works. And we hypothesize if we understand really well in detail how a cell works, we can understand when it goes wrong, how to fix it. But that's in the future. We really, the field is not there yet. Right now, we're taking actions based on the best guesses.
Another challenge for doctors, an increase in the number of young people getting colon cancer.
We're seeing a shift in the age for colorectal cancer, and we're not entirely clear about why it's happening. Most of the time, when we were seeing patients historically who were younger with colorectal cancer, usually had to do with the fact that they were part of some hereditary syndrome. They'd inherited some gene from mom and dad, and that's why they were developing the cancer. And in this case, we're not able to identify any known genes that are causing it, so we are seeing it in a younger population.
Gilmore fits into that category, young and healthy with no family history. She was too young for routine screening, but pushed for a colonoscopy because she felt something wasn't right.
When I woke up, Dr. Shim said, "I have bad news, I'm afraid," were the exact words he said. And then he said, "There's a tumor in your colon." And I was so relieved, actually, because I'd been sick for almost a year, and nobody seemed to be able to figure out what was wrong with me.
Doctors say, like Gilmore, we all need to know our bodies and speak up when something seems off.
Don't be scared, get up, go get yourself checked at the, first sign of anything going wrong. If you find a lump in your breast, if you have blood in the stool, don't wait for it to just go away. Go check it out with your doctor. Be proactive, be assertive, and say, no, I need to be screened. I need to be screened for cancer, and go through it. And if you don't have it, hooray. If you do have it, don't worry. It can be fixed.
And it is being fixed for millions. The American Cancer Society says as of January 1st of 2014, 14.5 million Americans diagnosed with cancer at some point in their lives were alive.
Dear Dr. Lean, thank you for curing me of cancer.
Dr. Lean keeps a drawer of handwritten thank you cards she's received from some of those survivors over the years. It reminds her of why she went into cancer medicine, to save lives.
God bless you, you make the difference. Who doesn't want that?
Like so many, she's hoping for a day there will be no more cancer patients to treat.
I'm out of business for right reason. I'm happy. That would be, hey, there's nobody with cancer. That's great.
I do think that by the end of my career, we may not have a cure, as in a singular cure for cancer, but that there may be multiple cures, plural, for many types of cancer.
So I really think that there's going to be a point where we can, I don't have to operate on people anymore, and that would be fabulous for me. But I do believe maybe in the next 10 years we're going to see some major opportunities for curing patients.
Allie Gilmore remains hopeful her own cancer will soon be gone for good.
I'm almost back in remission again. I'd say I'm pretty confident.
Hey, how are you doing? Good. Good to see you again.
You too.
Yeah.
After her latest round of chemo and radiation, she's about to hear details of her latest scan.
So the bottom line is, the 2 spots we treated, it's basically hard to find anything left, so that's really good. And to me, actually, the bigger news is I don't see anything new going on.
Yeah, that is bigger news. I like that news.
But does that mean remission?
I tend to think of somebody being in remission if we don't see any cancer going on, right? We can't find anything that we know that we have to deal with, and that's kind of where you're at.
Gilmore will need frequent monitoring to make sure cancer doesn't return. But for now, it's a day worth celebrating.
Hey, well, we've earned it. I think there's a reason why all that's happening, and it's because I'm meant to be part of that crew that literally changes the face of cancer. I really do.
A woman determined to live every minute has been given the gift of more. She's back working on that bucket list, recently adding one more thing.
My ultimate thing on my bucket list is to make over 1 million people less afraid of cancer and better prepared to face it. And so I'm just coming to the realization of how I'm going to make that happen. And I'm really excited about it. So right now it's the last thing on my list, but you know me. It's like, once I check that off, then I'll add another 10 things.
Tremendous progress, but still a ways to go. Until the day that cancer is no longer a threat, there are many resources to help patients. To find those in your area, you can go to myhumancase.com for a link. You'll also find information on prevention and recommended screening tests. And we welcome you to share your story with us. I'm Jim Patton. We thank you for watching.
Just how much my heart belongs to you. Oppositano vorrei che sapessi che il mio cuore ci appartiene.